Hi, my name is Bob Bollenbacher. It's a beautiful day here in Southwest Ohio. It's October 21st, 2015, and I have been a cancer patient for 1 month now. And what I'd like to do is convey my story to you in the hopes that some of my experiences over the prior 30 days can help you deal with your recent diagnosis. My story started on July 17th. I actually had a physical. The doctor's office called me the next day, told me everything was fine and to come on back next year. About 4 weeks after that, I started noticing my urine was getting dark. I thought I was dehydrated, and so I would drink more and more and more water, but it got to the point where I couldn't drink any more water, and the color of my urine wasn't changing. Later on that day, my wife's friend had seen me and immediately was alarmed. She said, "He has jaundice. My dad had jaundice. You need to get him to a doctor." The doctor scheduled me for a CT scan, then came upon me, and in as friendly a manner as he could, he said, "Bob, I have bad news. You have stage 4 cancer. You have a tumor on your pancreas and you have spots on your liver." I believed instantly this was a test from God. This is a cross that I'm going to bear, and I believe wholeheartedly that Christ isn't going to give us a cross that we cannot handle. You might recall that there was a point where Jesus, fully human, fully divine at the same time, could not bear his cross. He fell. And the Roman soldier grabbed Simon of Cyrene and instructed him to carry Jesus' cross. Possibly you might reach that point where your cross seemingly is too heavy for you. You know what? That's okay. I would encourage you to ask Christ to come to your side and help you out for that period of time. One of the things I did that's a bit more practical is I decided to get in my mind visuals. I see Christ coming up behind me on this side. He puts his left hand on my shoulder. He puts his right hand on my side. And he says over and over, he says, "Bob, this is a journey." He says, "It might be difficult, but I'm going to be right there by your side the entire time." And sometimes I'm holding his hand and off we go walking. Sometimes he just kind of encourages me to walk forward on my own. I want to believe that I'm going to get rid of these cancer cells. The one other visual that pops up every now and then is me reaching out and touching the hem of Christ's sleeve, much in the way the bleeding woman did. I believe that Christ is the same today as he was back then. He healed oh so many people back then. No reason why he shouldn't heal me now. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's perfectly okay, but that's what I'm believing. We tend to think sometimes of the negative. We tend to think of the bad things. Immediately I started thinking of my wife and my daughter. There also is a beach that our family likes to walk on, view the sunsets, and I thought, wow, when I die, I want to be cremated and I want to have my ashes spread on this beach. Well, what was I doing? Well, I was reinforcing the notion subconsciously that I was dying, which is very contradictory to what it is I wanted to happen. I decided I would have a mental garbage can. And any time I came up with a thought that was not positive in every way, shape, or form, I would deposit that thought in my mental garbage can. Another thing that occurred to me shortly after my diagnosis is I realized I was becoming one of them. I was no longer one of us. Right? So I would see billboards advertising cancer treatment. I would see television, and I almost had to pinch myself and say, oh yeah, I'm one of those people now. I think accepting that is a gigantic step towards doing better. I think that's the way to go. I have run into oh so many of thems, oh so many people who have cancer, and they have survived. And every one of them has said to me, if there's anything I can do, you are positive, you can do it, you have a great attitude, things will go well for you. And again, whether it happens or not, I don't know. That's Christ's department. But I'm going to believe that that's what's going to happen. As a them, I now have a responsibility, I feel, to greet and to comfort other people who have recently found out they became a them. Cancer seems to me like a set of magnifying glasses that are always on. And what happens is the beautiful things become oh so beautiful. And the sad things become oh so sad. So My wife and daughter and I were in a restaurant, and we saw a little boy holding his dad's hand walking through the restaurant. The dad was smiling, the little boy was smiling, and I almost broke out crying. And I never would have done that weeks ago. Find a way to see the beautiful things and enjoy life in that manner. I read a book one time. A fella said, you know, some people are just the meanest, crabbiest people. They get cancer, they survive, and it changes them, and they become very pleasant, very enjoyable people. Other people are crabby and nasty. They get cancer, they survive, and they're still crabby and nasty. I would propose to you that it's very hard for any of us to disregard our own self-image. If ever there was a time, I'm telling you, the time is now. If you're a greedy person, allow cancer to be your excuse to be generous. That's what cancer can do for you if you look at it the right way. And I would encourage you to do so. Maybe your diagnosis of getting cancer isn't about you at all. Maybe it's about somebody else who either is in your life or is going to be in your life. And what I mean by that is, maybe you're a very strong person. I like to think I am. It takes a lot to rattle me, and I can look you straight in the eye and say, when I got told I had stage 4 cancer, it did not really rattle me. Maybe you're that way. I hope you are. There might be a person in your life whom the diagnosis of cancer just absolutely chops them at the knees. Go seek that person out. Put your arm around them. Encourage them. Write them a letter. Give them phone calls. Go for a walk. I have had so many people tell me, Bob, I couldn't do what you're doing. You are a very strong person. You're so upbeat. And whether or not these things are true, I am gathering those things. I am internalizing those things so that I can be a resource for the next guy. I firmly believe that this is not about me. The last thing I'd like to mention to you, please don't be the person who puffs up their chest and says, I'm gonna beat cancer. I think that's foolhardy. I really do. If you know the Lord, as I've mentioned earlier, draw closer to the Lord. And if not, maybe this is the time. Maybe He's been knocking on the door of your life time and time and time again, and you haven't opened the door. And now with this diagnosis, this is Christ's way of breaking down the door and saying, you know what? I need you to come follow me. And if that's the case, you got to understand that it's not you who is going to beat cancer. I hope you do, and if you do, that's great. But as for me and my family, we're going to draw closer to Christ. Faith is not believing that Christ can. Faith is believing that Christ will. And we're going to hang our hat on the fact that the Lord is our shepherd, we shall not want. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your life to view my insights on what's occurred over the prior 30 days in my life. If I can be a resource to you in any way, shape, or form, please contact me, and I'd be happy to do so. Thank you so much.